Today we'll focus on honeypots, and I will show you how to set up your own free cloud honeypot using DigitalOcean. A honey what? A honeypot is an application with open ports that lures in attackers to try to exploit the vulnerable parts. But there are no vulnerable parts ideally. It's just a trap, a honey trap. And best of all, it's free. All you need to do is click the link in the description and then you can sign up, get $200 of free credit for 60 days to use for your project. You ready? Let's go. First, we open the link in the description and then we'll forward it to DigitalOcean. Here you can sign up with either Google, GitHub, or your email, and then we log in. The first thing you want to do is create a new project. Therefore, you click the link in the top left, give it a name and a description if you like, and select one of the options for your tasks. I'll just choose other. And then you have your project. What we want to do is to set up a Droplet. A Droplet is a virtual machine in DigitalOcean. We can use the big green create button at the top and use droplets. When the page loads, you can first choose out of 9 different data centers. Choose the one closest to you and the ones that have the cheapest option. I know that New York, Frankfurt, and I think Toronto have the cheapest option. So for me, Frankfurt is closest. Then we scroll down and here we can now choose the operating system that we want to use for the Droplet. I'll just leave this as default, so Ubuntu 22.10 is fine. We can have a shared CPU and then here the CPU options, we want a regular type disk and then click on the left arrow and use the cheapest option, the $4 per month. That is plenty of resources for our honeypot. Scroll down further and here we will now need to add a SSH key. Let's generate this together. So open your terminal, run SSH keygen, give it a name. I'll call mine honeypot YouTube. Then enter a passphrase if you like. And once that is done, you have your SSH keys. Now what you need to do is you need to open the public key. So for me it's then honeypot and then pub. I'll copy this, add new SSH key, paste it in here, give it a name and add it. We will use a private and public key because password protection for a honeypot is not something that I would recommend in order to stay safe and make sure that this one doesn't get hacked. You can choose a sufficiently long password and that will protect you, but SSH keys are much less prone to errors and give you a higher chance of having a safe infrastructure. Then we scroll down, we don't need any of those options. The last thing we have to do is give it a sufficient host name. I'll call this honeypot YouTube and then scroll down. Here you can give tags. I'll use honeypot as a tag and that's it. And then you click the blue button at the bottom right and then your machine is live. Okay, my Droplet is now live. I can copy the IP address, go over to my terminal and use SSH tag I and then the appropriate honeypot private key, add the username, in this case root, and the IP address. And it will ask us if we like the fingerprint. We're fine with that. We add our password for the SSH key and we're connected. The honeypot we'll use is called Glutton. It's written in Go and available on GitHub. I'll put the link in the description if you want to learn more. Basically, it opens a lot of ports and then answers predefined strings so that someone from the outside thinks they are attacking a real service, but they're not. So let's install Glutton. In order to do this very easily, I created a script for you. This is available on GitHub. I'll share the link in the description. So first we install all the dependencies, then we download a very specific version of Go. Once that is done, we extract the binary from the archive. We move that into the user local folder, export the Go root and path with the appropriate locations so that the system can find the Go binaries. Then we clone the repository, we move into the folder, and we build it. And afterwards, we add the environment variables to our -rc file so that these persist over restart as well. And then we do some cleanup. You can download it and execute it, or you use a technique I showed in the last video with curl. If you want to run this immediately, you can use curl tags, then the file name, and then pipe this into bash. That will immediately run all the commands. Now this is done, and we can check what's in the folder. We should have a Glutton folder. We can go into that, and here we can now run bin server and then tag l var log glutton. What this will do is it will run the server and then log everything that we see into this file. So let's run this first and see if everything works. It will load the config, and in a couple of seconds we should see we already get hits. So that means there's already someone trying to break into the Honeypot less than 2 seconds after we started it. Interesting. And now we can see all the interactions that the internet has with this Honeypot. And you can see that there's an immense load of enumeration recon infrastructure running all times. So as soon as this goes up, 2 seconds later we have bots trying to attack the service, which is kind of scary, to be honest. You can now leave this running for up to 60 days completely free without any strings attached, and then download the data, analyze them, and see if you can find a pattern. Wonderful. Let me show you how to download the log file so that you can analyze it later. Now you can close the window, log out, and then come back later to see what is happening. The only thing that you have to do is, since the Honeypot is also running on port 22, and currently it doesn't work on DigitalOcean that you change the SSH port, you cannot log in with SSH. So what you have to do is you come back to the Honeypot project, you open the machine, and then in the top right you click on turn off. That will shut down the machine, and then when you turn it on, SSH is running again on the normal port, and you can log in and download the file. Let me show you how to do that. So first we turn this off. Okay, now we turn it on again, and we connect again as soon as port 22 is available. This might take a couple of seconds. Here we go. And now we can check out the log file. We can also do a wctagl to count the lines in var log Glutton, and then we see that there are 95 lines in there. In order to download it, we could use SCP or SFTP. We run this by using SFTP, then tag I for the identity file. We provide our private key, our username, and then add the IP address, colon to separate between IP address and file, and then the file that we want to download. Then if we run this, it asks us for the passphrase, it fetches the file, and if we check, the file is here. If you want to learn more about how to interact with Linux, I have the perfect video for you. It's here. But wait, why would I need a honeypot in the first place? You could use it to study attackers, to study bots, to understand how attacks work, and maybe also to build your own bot. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today. If you did, please consider subscribing and smashing that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you very much, and until next time.
Subscribe now.